All right, dudes, let's go into the next map here, as it is going to be a nice start to the series for this guy down here in the bottom right-hand side in the blue, representing Team Liquid. It is Uthermal. Liquid Thermi. And his opponent having a hard loss in game one, but coming back onto his first map pick. In the red, the Zerg player, it is Sortof. I really hope that Uthermal plays bio at least one or two games this series. I hope it's not all mech. That being said, I mean, I'm totally happy to watch mech games, especially if we see Swarm hosts. I want to see how Uthermal tries to deal with that. But it's going to be really cool to see exactly how we go with all that. Hey, we got Uthermal's #1 fanboy in chat, Sheena Rama. What up, mate? How are you? Long time no see, brother. Except when you're, of course, whining about every non-Terran race on Twitter or sucking up to Uthermal. Oh, CC first. Check it, guys. Sortof is a notorious macro player. So for anyone who's not familiar with Sortof, Sortof used to be a big practice partner of mine back in the day. In the early days, Sortof actually taught me a lot about getting better at macro and improving at StarCraft. Since he was a reasonably strong Brood War player as well, not like crazy good, but he got to be, you know, towards the top couple of players in Sweden, towards just before StarCraft 2 came out. So he was a player who had a lot more RTS experience than me, and he always taught me a lot about like kind of improving as a macro player and being solid and all this sort of stuff. One of the big weaknesses I think that Sortof has always suffered from is that he's a little bit predictable in that regard. He doesn't really mix enough all-ins in. When he does, they always feel like it's a very kind of rigid, well-planned and perfected all-in. So he'll find an all-in that is like really efficient, but he'll very rarely do something shockingly surprising or intuitive. Like you very rarely feel like he makes up an all-in on the spot. After seeing something from his opponent. It's always like this map, this build, let's do it. So because of this, sort of, you know, 90% of the time, it is just economic macro play. He's a macro god. For a long time, we called him Mechanics Bergman because, you know, he used to be on Alliance with Naniwa. You know, when asked about his playstyle, he said, well, I think I am mechanically better than most players, so I like to rely on my mechanics. And, yeah, no one let him forget that. His nickname was Mechanics for like 2 years. Maybe, what, like 3 years maybe? Everyone's like, oh, hey, Mechanics. But realistically, Sortof is incredibly fast. He's incredibly tight with his play. He's incredibly efficient. But he does have the classic weaknesses of someone who is a little bit predictable and a little bit overly defensive. Uthermal, on the other hand, he's your hot flash-in-a-pan, madman player. Loves to fucking run in there, kill stuff at every opportunity. And yeah, he's definitely a player who's much more multi-prong oriented, much more focused on very, very just wild aggression. Trying to dive in, do damage whenever he can. Ricard Mechanics Bergman. Yes. I don't know why I'm doing it in a German accent. I can't do a Swedish accent because it just sounds like a regular native English speaker, except with better pronunciation usually. Fucking Swedish people. Seriously. Hey, Zombie Grub with the big host. Thank you so much, Zombie Grub. Oh, you know what, guys? I totally forgot to put my alerts on. So let me just turn my desktop audio on, I guess. I'll just use that form of the audio for the alerts, and that should be fine. Big thanks also, FX with the 6-month resub. Thank you very much, mate. So, his nickname is still Mechanics? Well, I mean, I don't know. Do people still call him Mechanics that much? I don't know. Maybe I just got bored. Like, the nickname Mechanics just bored me after a while, so I actually just call him Sortof or Ricard half the time now. Whereas before it was like a very active meme. Guys, we have double reactor Hellions. Did that Zergling spot the second factory? Yes, it did! Oh my god. Okay, it's been spotted. How the hell do you react to this as Sortof? You've just seen double reactor. Now, you're going to be assuming it's going to be a Cyclone Hellion / Hellbat timing, right? Are we going to see an Armory? Yep, the Armory is, of course, already down. +1's on the way. This is your Battle Mech opening. It's going to be a very aggressive play. And, oh, you know what? Sortof hates opening Roaches. Roaches and Ravagers is, in my opinion, the easiest way to shut this down. Lingbane can do it, but it's going to be tough. There's no transfuses on any of these queens. He spent so much energy on creep tumors. He doesn't have any transfuse. His banelings are only just starting to morph. Their hellbats are just moving in on top of this. Sort of caught off guard by this. Look at this focus fire on the baneling eggs. He's going to stop all of those cocoons from morphing. Only one hellbat has fallen. The queen's only now starting to get transfuse energy, but the queen with the transfuse is at the front. She's exposed. Oh, every single baneling just morphing there in the bad location. There we go. Transfuse energy finally is building up. Looks like Sortof will hold on for now, but losing a bunch of banelings there and only picking off a few hellbats, losing a bit of mining time on the third, is now going to Maynard these workers back on down. And we see here Uthermal showing a big range of builds, and it's not over yet. You know, he's got the economic transition with the third CC. He'll probably be starting +2 weapons right after that. And we've got 4 cyclones, soon to be 6 cyclones coming out. They're going to meet up with this. Hydras are going to be okay against this, but I kind of feel like you want to have enough just Ling Bane to wrap around and deal with this in a clean and simple manner. Overseer is going to come in. It sees the third CC timing. Is he going to spot those cyclones coming out? I think the Overlord at the front might have seen that. He should have some idea that this could be coming, but without the actual exact warning of the timing, this Reaper, of course, guarding the Watchtower, it's going to be really tough. 6 cyclones and 8 hellbats. No Medivacs for healing, but here we go. Oh god, the spine's uprooting. There's going to be a ton of transfuses, but these banelings need to save themselves to deal with that, with those hellbats. Transfuse going down on these queens. The banelings trying to make their way through here. Uh-oh, the spine crawler. Oh my god, it goes down. No more transfuses left. Banelings trying to roll in, but oh, these queens taking massive damage. More Hydras are on the way. I don't know if Sortof has the answers just yet. I mean, Hydras are good once you get enough of them, but for such an early attack, you really need to be focused on, like I said, just having enough Ling Bane or enough queens. And Roach's Ravagers would have been the simplest way to deal with this, but looks like, you know, Sortof was trying to toe that line of greed, and he just barely miscalculated. And now it looks like Uthermal's just going to, you know, give him a solid punch in the face, and does take out the third base. Even though Uthermal will lose all these units, probably? No, he's not even going to lose all these units. Oh my god, the Cyclones are still alive. What the frack? Oh my god. And there we go. He will now finally lose these units. The Hydra's going to chase him down, but the third hasn't even started rebuilding yet. Sortov's on 2 base, up against a 3 base Terran. And that's it, man. Uthermal loses the last little units in the attack. Doesn't matter. Sortov's just too far behind. These very aggressive mech openings from Uthermal finding some really good pieces of damage. Sortov's in trubs, man. He's in trubs. So you guys talking about Overwatch? Oh, yeah, Overwatch is impossible to understand. I mean, most esports are hard to understand if you don't play them. But if you don't play Overwatch, it's like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, most MOBAs are pretty terrible to understand what's going on if you don't play them. You can kind of follow, like, oh, there's a fight, and the dudes are using things on each other, but you can't really tell whose abilities are whose, right? Even in a game like StarCraft, it's really hard to follow. It's easiest to follow when there's just a lot of movement around the maps, because it's easier to kind of figure out, oh, he's in this area, he's in that area, oh, he got like a surround, or he got a flank, you know? Even then, if you don't play StarCraft, it's bloody hard to understand all the details of what's going on. But yeah, I totally agree that Overwatch is that like times 1,000. It's like so hard to figure out what's happening in that game, just from the observing mode. Unfortunately, you know, they said they're going to be releasing some cool new observing stuff, I think, with the release of Overwatch League. It's going to be interesting to see how they manage to make such a frenetic game, you know, easily watchable. Personally, I don't think it matters too much. As long as you got a ton of people playing the game, you don't need to make it super accessible to casuals. It's better if it is, but yeah. That's why I always say Brood War is actually the easiest game to watch, because with zero kind of competitive experience, only having played the single player as a kid, I could always watch and follow the broad strokes of a Brood War game whilst having zero understanding of what units were good versus what units, you know, exactly what strategies worked versus what. Because the movement in Brood War is just so important. Like, there's just constant... Banelings just run past Hellions. Oh, it's not going to get anything. That would have been a good Baneling connection, actually. I think I would have taken that for sure. Oh, no, this base is in the open. Oh, he's trying to pull Zerglings down here. Doesn't even have melee upgrades. That's interesting. I think when Rogue played this style, he actually was very melee upgrade focused. But it seems like Sort of focusing a little bit more on the range carapace, getting the Hydras those upgrades. Same thing that I would be focusing on in the same way. I really feel like Sort of needs to like split his bases up, but maybe this is because I play at such a noob level that abandoning bases is okay. Maybe with Sort of he says, let's keep everything compact so these Hellion run-bys can't do damage. And that's going to, you know, give me a much easier time handling the harassment, which is the big problem. And then I just have to deal with the frontal push. For me, it's the opposite. When I'm playing against mech, I'm much more focused on defending the frontal push, and that's like the scary part. So I like to spread my bases and just leave units kind of spread around to defend harassment. And then if their frontal push is too scary, you know, it's all about cut off the reinforcements, counterattack, do little base tradey counterattacks, and just keep running your drones to other bases. Like always have more bases than you need so your drones can evacuate. Looks like we're going to see Vipers actually survive and get out this time. There's a ton of Hellions on this map. What's the army of Uthermal looking like? A ton of Vikings and tanks. Oh my god, what is that tank count? 16. Soon to be 17 or 18 siege tanks. Remember, this is Sortof's map pick. And his creep is now starting to get across it. He could get back in this game if he can buy himself a few more minutes. He's trying to go Ultra Queen here. I don't agree with Ultralisk tech unless you've got a ton of Queens. The one time where I like Ultras against mech is... Oh my god, don't go up that ramp, don't go up that ramp. Okay. So the one time I agree with it is when I saw Snoot do it Versed Innovation, where he had like 15 Queens just chain transfusing. So even with just a few Ultras in his army, he could just get this insane efficiency, you know, as long as he took the correct fights where he could land the transfuses. Ooh, tanks are moving forward, slowly moving forward from this area. I'd love to see Sort of do something aggressive, but you can see these bases are just getting taken for free. And I mean, it's really hard when you've only got Hydras and Lings and Banes. What can you really do? You send a few Hydras to harass a mineral line. Hellions can deal with that. And Hydras are too expensive to throw away when you're back up against the wall like Sort of is right now. He's going to go for it. Flanking in from multiple sides. The Vipers coming in here on the left flank. A couple of Blinding Clouds do go down, but the tank volleys have already landed. I think those tank shots might have already been too big. These siege tanks landing massive damage, but no, the Hydras on the top side of the concave are going to clear out the front, but I think they need to pull back. Sort of needs to retreat right now. He cannot go any deeper. Do not push up that ramp. He takes a few more tank volleys than he maybe needed to, but he does clear out the front half of that army. The problem here for Sort of is he does not have a huge economy. He's having to pull back. Liquid Thermal. He's like, I don't give a shit, man. I know you don't have the resources right now. I can actually trade out like this. I have a 5th base up. If I just keep moving this spread forward, guess what? Every Viper died to the Vikings that fight. Those Vipers are not replaceable. 4 more are on the way, but the gas, the minerals are almost completely out for Sort of. Sort of's going to have to give up this base. There's just no way he can hang on. The Queens and Hydras moving into their death here. And I think Uthermal's mech just a little bit too powerful. Nice Ling Flak from the backside. Did actually take out a bunch of siege tanks. Whoa, that actually surrounded 4 siege tanks on the back. But, oh, every fight, there's just slightly too much. And we see a 17 kill siege tank and 11 kill siege tank. Uthermal with some sick mech plays, man. He's killing it. He's doing really fucking well. Uthermal. Looking good. Looking good. I also feel like when you're behind, Ultras are never the answer. I guess when you've got Mass Queen, yeah. I don't really know what Sort of could have been doing to try to get back in this. I mean, part of me says Swarm Hosts, like there's always some chance to come back with Swarm Hosts, but on the other hand, when you're as behind as Sort of was, you're going to throw a Locust Wave, get a bit of damage, throw a Locust Wave, get a bit of damage, and then Uthermal sieged up at your base, and, you know, your Swarm Hosts are on cooldown, and it's like, So I think, realistically, it all comes back to that damage on the 3rd at the early game. I don't think against a player, you know, if the Terran has his 3rd landed, and your 3rd's just started rebuilding, against mech, one of the most cost-efficient compositions, like, you're just dead. Look at the Uden Sloss tab, guys. 6,000 resources more efficient for Uthermal. Even though his army is so expensive to rebuild, look at this. Sort of's forced to try to take this base. Like, little barbecue. You know, they're having a little picnic, these drones. Hellions say, nah, fuck you, roasty toasty drone. Love a couple of spicy drone wings. And he's trying to bait him into this Widow Mine. Oh my god, he's gonna do... Oh, the Hellion splash. Oh, shit, man. Trading out Hellions for Hydras, that's something you always want to do. Vipers, though, abducted a whole bunch of Vikings on the front, so there was a bit of a good trade there for for sort of, but uh-oh. Uh-oh, this Hellion looking for the big drone damage. Not gonna find it. Lings and Hydras do react. More tanks, more Hellions are out here for Uthermal. Uthermal's just gonna do a run by here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hellions coming in from multiple sides. Oh no, they're gonna go back into Hellbat form. So, how do you come back here is sort of, the long and short answer are identical. You don't. You're fucking dead. Sort of so screwed, man. He's more dead than a person who's dead. Fucking great metaphors here. The commentary is high level today. One day, you guys too can also commentate the StarCraft, but only if you work hard on your ability to form sentences that totally make sense, just like me. Here we go. Big push. Oh, where's the abducts? Where's the abducts? Where's the Vikings, more importantly? And is going to lose... Oh, a couple of nice parasitic bombs. Does lose one Viper. Not too bad, but yeah, I think sort of you got to give up this base, buddy. One more PB does go down. Gonna throw one last PB down, but loses another Viper. All those Vikings heavily bruised. Viper's going to have to run off to go suck some more energy. Sort of desperately trying to mine from this base. Hellbats are going to say, nah, fuck you. They're going to run in and, yeah, sort of... Oh, I mean, he's fighting as hard as he can from behind. He's doing mass Viper now. He's building 4 more Vipers, knowing, hey, maybe just sick efficiency on my Vipers is like the way I get back in this. That's always a chance. Spellcasters are always one of the best ways to get back in a game. Problem is, Uthermal is just flawlessly expanding along the map at the same time. This base just not even going to get cancelled. Fountain of blood sprays into the air. And that's going to be that. Yeah, with the economies the way they are, sort of needs to be grossly efficient right now. Couple of abducts is going to be nice. Going to start cleaning up this position, which is important so that he can expand up here. Uthermal, you can see he's already moving his army in response. Hellions unsieging, tanks unsieging. He's trying to push in from this angle, sort of trying to move down to answer. He needs to slow down this siege. He needs more energy on those Vipers. He has 9 Vipers right now. Vikings going to come forward and... Oh my god, there's just too many Hellions! Oh my god, every Terran. Every Terran just loved that, didn't they? Every Terran has been complaining about Hydras out there. Like, you all just like... Holy Hellions, Batman. That was a brutal game, that one. Damn.